My name is Sania Kandhro, and my topic is depiction of female journalists in media. I got the idea to do this research when reading the reports from the Women's Media Center. In this chart from the Women's Media Center 2016, this shows how women bylines compare to men depending on each publication. As you can see, female bylines are far less than males. As you can see in this 2015 report, women aspire to have a career or a bachelor's degree in media-related field, even far more than men, or as equal. Also, according to the 2017 Women's Media Report, only 16% of women have won the Pulitzer Prize within the last century. So why are there fewer bylines, and why are there less female media content creators? In Donald A.'s study, he describes the Bechdel test as a film must have at least two women who talk to each other about something besides a man. I wanted to go beyond the Bechdel test to count how much romance was mentioned and how much career was mentioned. I went to look for this answer by researching the media. My question is, to what extent has fictional media depicted career women, specifically female journalists, as cliché chick flick story rather than their careers? The media this video will showcase are Sex and the City, Morning Glory, The Devil Wears Prada, and The Mary Tyler Moore Show. We will begin with the movies. Each bar graph shows every 15 minutes. So in the first 15 minutes, The Devil Wears Prada mentions romance once, then 0, then once, then 3, and towards the end of the movie 4, and finishes it off with 2. Contrast that to how many times career was mentioned. The first 15 minutes was 3, then 4, then 1, then 2, then 2, then 2, and 2. In Morning Glory, the first 15 minutes showed romance once, then 2, then 2, then 2, and then 1, and then 1. In regards to career, the first 15 minutes showcased 4, then 3, then 3, then 3, then 3, then 3, and 2. So the movie results are that Morning Glory mentions career 21 times compared to romance at 10. The Devil Wears Prada mentions career 16 times and romance at 12. The difference of romance is only by 2. In an article by Andrew Pagoda, his perspective on The Devil Wears Prada is, after the makeover, Andy does everything perfectly and quickly replaces Emily as first assistant as Emily is falling behind. So what is the message of Devil Wears Prada? And how important looks matter? While Pagoda believes Devil Wears Prada has a bad message, Devil Wears Prada is based off of a book, also known as chick literature, that helps women feel relatable to the characters, providing alternatives to what culture demands of women homemaking, Mr. Right, thin waist, and sexual fidelity. This is Das 2015 study. In a report by Smith et al. 2013, women are far more likely to wear sexy attire, have exposed thin, be referenced attractive and with thin bodies in primetime programs, family films, and children's shows than male counterparts. Women who are media content creators, according to Smith's report, is 34% for family movies and then 27% for primetime. This also brings up the question how those small percentage of women are depicted. When the movie Sex and the City was announced, the media found it questionable for the movie to even make a profit. Some of the headlines even read, "Can women alone make Sex and the City a hit?" Another is, "Sex sells, but will men see City?" This was an article by Melissa Silverstein in 2008. For this, we will move on to television shows, Sex and the City and The Mary Tyler Moore Show. In these bar graphs, each bar represents one episode about 28 minutes long. In Sex and the City, career was mentioned 4 times in the first episode, 7 times in the second, 1 in the third, 2, then 4, and totaling 20 for all 6 episodes. Contrast that to romance, where in the first episode it was mentioned 10 times, then 10, then 7, then 8, then 7, and 8. With The Mary Tyler Moore Show, career was mentioned 5 times in the first, then 1, then 3, then 1, then 3, and 2. With romance, it was mentioned 6 in the first, then 4 in the second, then 3, then 1, and 1. So the TV results are that Sex and the City mentions romance much more than career, as romance was 50 count for all 6 episodes, compared to 20 for career. In the Mary Tyler Moore Show, romance is 18 and career is 15. The first episode skews the data because the first episode was about how Mary moves to Minneapolis after ending a relationship. After the first episode, most of the scenes were not about Mary's love life or her career, but rather her friendships. In Jewel A's study, Mary Richards presented a new attitude in the 1970s that a woman could be single and still be a whole person. Maybe this is why it is different than Sex and the City, because it wanted to focus on other aspects of her life. In regard to the research question, how people are depicted influence a person's perspective and mindset. According to Robinson's study, fans construct parasocial or imagined connections to celebrities who fulfill relationship functions or serve as spaces for projecting and evaluating that make sense. So the idea is when Mary is depicted as a normal career working woman or Carrie Bradshaw as an older single woman, the idea is audience will normalize that. This also relates to my research question: if 3/4 of all Sundance films were dramas, comedies, or romantic comedies that were 92.5% of female-directed films, then what does the audience normalize? While Sex and the City is obviously about sex, so romance is definitely going to be higher than the career count, but the message of the show is how the main characters often question how they're single and how they hate being single and wish to have a full relationship. While Mary Tyler Moore does not really focus on her relationship at all, but rather her career and how her friends are. In conclusion, The Devil Wears Prada and The Morning Glory don't really have much of a difference between how much romance was mentioned and how much career was mentioned, but the qualitative difference is that The Morning Glory was about a woman aspiring her career, while Devil Wears Prada was about a woman questioning her career. My next task to further understand this is to analyze all 3 of the Bridget Jones's Diary movies, if time permitting. Until then, thank you for watching and listening. Thank you again, and apologies for some of the weird data charts and images. By the way, each source will get its own slide because they're all special.